Spread the word, oh man. Spread the word of Islam. Oh, fortunate one, paradise must be won. Paradise must be won each day and each night, through darkness and through light. Cry it out to the world. Spread the word. Spread the word of Islam.
Cultural baggage, custom, and tradition which prevented them from accepting the message of Islam. Break the shackles of custom and tradition. Break the shackles of desire to please ourselves and to please others. Free our minds so that we can become true Muslims.
Allah, 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 كلما ناديت ياه.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, I greet you with the greetings of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. At this time, I also send my prayers and blessings upon Allah's last and most noble prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his companions, his family, wives, and those who follow right guidance. Ladies and gentlemen, today's lecture by Dr. Bilal Phillips will be on Shackles of the Mind. I would like to now give you a brief introduction, and it is truly a brief introduction because I would take up all the speaker's time were I to go through a full introduction of our brother and Dr. Sheikh Abu Amina Bilal Phillips. He was born in Jamaica, West Indies, and grew up in Canada, where he accepted Islam in 1972. He completed his BA from the College of Islamic Disciplines, that is Usuluddin, at the Islamic University of Medina in 1979, and an MA in Islamic Theology in 1985 at the University of Riyadh College of Education. In 1994, he completed his PhD in Islamic Theology or Aqidah in the Department of Islamic Studies at the University of Wales. From 1994 until the year 2001, Dr. Bilal founded and directed the Islamic Information Center in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, and the Foreign Literature Department of Dar al-Fatah Islamic Press in Sharjah, United Arab Emirates. In the year 2001, Dr. Bilal established the Islamic Online University, the first accredited Islamic university on the internet. He was a professor of Arabic and Islamic studies at the American University in Dubai and Ajman University, head of the Department of Arabic and Islamic Studies at Preston University in Ajman, United Arab Emirates, and he is a lecturer and head of the Sharia Advisory Committee at the Qatar Guest Center in Doha, Qatar. He is currently the Dean of the Islamic Studies Academy in Doha. More information can be gained from www.islamicstudiesacademy.com. For more information on Dr. Bilal Phillips, you can look for his website, www.bilalphillips.com. That's one word, BILALPHILIPS.com. He is also hosting the website www.islamiconlineuniversity.com, where you can sign up for classes on Islam and listen to lectures, watch videos, and also have DVDs downloaded to your computers. Ladies and gentlemen, with no further waiting, inshallah, Shackles of the Mind by Dr. Bilal Phillips.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. All praise is due to Allah, and may Allah's peace and blessings be on the last messenger of Allah. The topic, shackles of the mind, is one which most of us would find somewhat strange. I'm sure you're probably wondering, what am I going to talk about under this topic? And to be honest, when it was given to me, I was wondering myself, what was I going to be talking about? Normally, when we think of shackles of the mind, meaning shackles are chains. Chains on our minds, for what purpose? What is the point of these chains? Chains which would prevent us from being true Muslims. This is the take which I took from this title. What are the shackles? What are the obstacles which would prevent us from actuating our faith, making our faith a living faith, as opposed to the typical understanding of religion, where people go through rituals, they do group festivals, and they socialize, all in the name of religion. But are they really practicing that religion? No. We can see it with the religions around us in the world today. One only has to look at Christmas to see a classical case of religion turned into a social event. Besides the fact of truth or falsehood with regards to Christmas, but just look at the event of Christmas. What does it have to do with religion? Where is religion there? And this is not something I'm saying as a Muslim relative to Christianity. This is what Christians say themselves. Christmas has become so commercialized that the religious element has been lost. And that's why anybody, except Muslims, can celebrate Christmas. It doesn't matter what you believe. You can celebrate it. We do also even find some Muslims doing it, but they shouldn't be. But that's what it has become, something, and the religion in general has become something which is social. To a certain degree, this has happened for Muslims too. Whether it is the event of Hajj, which is the major gathering of Muslims, or it is the event of the Eids, the festivals, to a certain degree, we have ritualized them so much so that anybody could participate. And that's why you will find non-Muslims participating in our Eids, and they don't have any problem with it, because to a large degree, except for Salatul Eid, the Eid itself has lost its religious character. The fact that there is Salah there, that is a reminder for us that we begin the celebration of Eid with Salah. That is to keep us on track. That Eid is fundamentally a religious gathering, a gathering in which we worship Allah. And everything else that takes place should be an extension of that worship. But is it? That's the question. So, going back to the shackles, the mental shackles, which prevents us from actualizing our faith. When I reflected on this topic, what came to me by Allah's mercy was Surah Al-Fatiha. Surah Al-Fatiha, which we repeat 17 times every day if we are praying 5 times a day, which we're supposed to be. In that surah, Allah speaks about the shackles of the mind, which prevent the believers from actuating their faith. Where, you might ask? You have read the translation of Surah Al-Fatiha, and there's no mention of any shackles in it, shackles of the mind. So where did I get that from? Well, if we read the last verse, Surah Al-Fatiha, we know, begins with the praise of Allah. Then, recognizing His mercy, recognizing our responsibility, Maliki Yawmiddin, that we are accountable to Allah. Then, affirming the purity of our faith. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. You alone do we worship, and from you alone do we seek help.
Allah, Allah.
The purity of our faith. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. You alone do we worship, and from you alone do we seek help. Then we ask, Allah teaches us to ask for the most important thing in our lives. And that is, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Show us the straight path. And then we describe that path. Sirat al-Ladina an'amta alayhim, the path of those who you have blessed. Because it is only with the blessings of Allah that we find that path. And what is that path? It is the path which is not followed by those on whom is Allah's anger, غير المغضوب عليهم, nor those who have gone astray. وَلَضَّالِّينَ. 2 categories of people who are prevented from the path, the straight path, the path of Allah. 2 people, 2 groups of people. Those on whom is Allah's anger, and those who have gone astray. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ explained that those on whom is Allah's anger refers primarily to the Jews. And those who have lost their way, who have gone astray, primarily are the Christians. Now, what is it about the Jews and the Christians that Allah would put them here in Surah Al-Fatiha? The Jews, when we see them described in the Quran, Allah describes them as those who do not act on their knowledge. And the Christians are described as those without true knowledge. And we should keep in mind that whenever Allah describes a people in the Quran, He is describing them to the believers for them to understand the lessons to be learned from these people. It is not so that we can say Allah's anger is on the Jews, the Christians are astray. Well, that's true. But Allah wasn't clarifying these points for us to say that. He was clarifying in Surah Al-Fatiha these points so that we beware of falling into the same pitfalls, into the same traps. the satanic traps which causes one to be of those who know and don't act on the knowledge, or to be ignorant and to be acting on false knowledge, and thus to be astray. So the main two pitfalls, the main two shackles which chain our minds in such a way as to prevent us from becoming true Muslims, Muslims who have knowledge and who act on that knowledge. The main two shackles are: one, not acting on knowledge, and two, not having knowledge. Now, if we put them in order, starting with knowledge first, we have to understand that there is a difference between knowledge and faith. We have to understand, first and foremost, that there is a difference between knowledge and faith. Because this is an area that people become confused about. They mistake knowledge for faith. They mistake knowledge for faith. Knowledge, from the Islamic perspective, must precede faith. Knowledge must precede faith for faith to be correct and real. Knowledge must precede it. If faith is preceded by emotion, and we know that emotions blind, as they say, love is blind. Love is a powerful emotion. It blinds us. So where we address our faith from an emotional perspective, not preceded by knowledge, then it is likely that we are on the wrong path. We're on the wrong path. We are very emotional and strong about something that we really have no knowledge of. So, knowledge should precede faith. As Allah said, فَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Know that there is no God worthy of worship but Allah. We should know it. Without that knowledge, if we're just repeating it, La ilaha illallah, we don't really know what it means. We are acting on something probably, most probably, in the wrong way. If we are to act on it and we don't really know what it means, then the likelihood is that we'll be acting on it in the wrong way. So, knowledge. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam enshrined knowledge in Islam following Allah's instruction, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask those who know if you don't know. If you don't know, ask those who know. وَإِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. Only the knowledgeable truly fear Allah. Allah has laid that foundation already. That without real knowledge, one cannot truly fear Allah. And the way to get knowledge is to ask those who know whenever you don't know. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ made it a pillar of faith a pillar of faith, a pillar in Islam, meaning a foundation, one of the basic foundations for our Islam, to seek knowledge. It's not of the 5 pillars of Islam or the 6 pillars of Iman. No, I'm not saying that, of those. But underneath the 5 pillars of Islam and the 6 pillars of Iman is the pillar of knowledge. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Talabul ilmi farida ala kulli Muslim." Seeking knowledge is compulsory for every Muslim. How can we implement the 5 pillars of Islam or the 6 pillars of Iman without knowledge? So knowledge is the foundation. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ made it a farida. What is a farida? Something obligatory. If you don't do it, you're in sin. So the Prophet ﷺ, in that hadith, made ignorance sin, made it sinful for those who have the opportunity to gain the knowledge and don't do it. It is sinful. It is something displeasing to Allah. It is something which can lead us to hell, destroy this life. It's very serious. That's why he made seeking knowledge an obligation. Farida ala kulli Muslim, on every Muslim, according to his or her ability, naturally. What is required of a child is not required of an adult. What is required of somebody going to make Hajj is not required of somebody not going to make Hajj. So different circumstances may demand of us knowledge which other circumstances don't. But we are obliged to have the knowledge of whatever is obligatory on us. Whatever is obligatory on us at this point in time, right now, we are obliged to have the knowledge of. So if we are going to make Hajj, we are obliged to have knowledge of Hajj before we go to make Hajj. What do Muslims do commonly? They go and make Hajj, and then they come back and they ask people, well, Sheikh, Maulana, should I have done that? No, not when you came back. That's not the time to find out what you were supposed to have been doing. Everybody was doing this thing and I went and did that. Was that okay? No. This is not the time to ask. The time to ask was before going. The time to ask was before going. We had the fast of Ashura yesterday. This was an opportunity which Allah gave us to remove from us sins of the past. One who fasts Ashura removes from himself some of the sins of the past. Depending on the level of his fast, it may be many, they may be major, or it may be few, and they may be minor.
Spread the word, oh man. Spread the word of Islam. Oh, fortunate one, paradise must be won. Paradise must be won each day and each night, through darkness and through light. Cry it out to the world.